can't get it which hazel can be used. It doesn't give quite as good an effect, but it can be used. And if you have a look closely in here, you'll see that it's got these tiny little bubbles. Now that doesn't matter because we're going to put white on top, but if you didn't want those, you could again spritz them with the isopropyl alcohol, which causes them to disappear and go away. So if you want a really nice glassy effect on your soap, you'd use the isopropyl alcohol in that way also. So it causes, what the isopropyl is doing is it's causing the set layer of soap to get tiny little holes in it, which causes the melted soap to sit into those holes so that when we unmold it, the two will stick together. If you don't use your isopropyl alcohol, when you cut them apart, you'll get a slip and the different layers will fall apart. Now we're going to let this one set for a little bit of time, and once that's set, we're going to put the white cream or frosting on the top of that as well. So now that we've had a few minutes for our mango soap to set a little bit, it's still slightly warm to the touch, but as you can see, I've got a bit of a harder surface there, so the next layer will attach to that. What we want to do is put another layer on top that represents the cream on our cake. So we've got our biscuit base, our mango slice in the middle, and now the cream on top. Now you could just take your soap and colour it white and pour it on. That would be fine, but I prefer to whip it so that it looks a little bit like cream or frosting on the top. So what we need to do, because I want this to be pure white, is that I'm going to add lots and lots and lots of the white dye into this one to make it really nice and opaque white. We'll see if that's enough. We might even add a little bit more. And it's always nice to scent it, so we'll use the vanilla so that it gives a nice scent with the cream. Okay. And this time we're just going to use the clear soap, but we're going to whip it, so I'll pour it into here. Because the vanilla has a slight brownish tinge to it, I am getting a little bit of yellowing in the soap, but as we continue with that, it'll come a little bit whiter anyway, and I can always add a little bit more white dye if I wish to. We'll use quite a bit, I think, because we're nearly out of the soap melted here anyway, so we can mix it all in. Okay, now you can determine whether that colour is acceptable to you or whether you want it to make it a little bit whiter, which I'm going to do, just brighten it up just a tiny bit. Okay, taking a normal egg beater and just mix it up so that we get some nice bubbles and a frothing effect and a few bubbles floating up in the air. Do not use an electric mixer for this because you'll have froth everywhere. Okay, so it gives us a nice frothy sort of whipped cream effect. We take the isopropyl alcohol and just give a little spritz in here and pour our frothy soap on top as much as you like. And that's it. We can let that set. When that's set, now, do not spritz it now. If you spritz this now, you'll lose all your bubbles because they'll go flat again. So let's leave it set. I might even top a little bit more in there because I've got it here anyway, so we may as well use it all up. And you can see that that's starting to set already in my container, so now it's going a little bit stringy if I was to use a spoon. You can see how it's already setting. Plop that on top if you want to. A little bit of whipped cream there on the top. And that's going to set really nicely in a fairly short period of time so that we'll be able to finish that off without much waiting. Now I've spilt soap all over the tablecloth and everything else, but it doesn't matter because it's just soap, so your clean-up's really, really easy. You don't use detergent. If you get it on your clothes or your apron, just pop it in the washing machine. It's perfectly fine to use. So now we can move this to one side a little bit. There we go, that can sit there. And we can come to unmoulding of our plum pudding cake. So let's move a couple of things out of the way here. Okay, so now we can just carefully lift this out. And this is just a standard silicone bakeware that you can get. It is still warm to the touch, but I think it's set enough for us to pop it out. Yep, just gently peel it back all the way around. We've got these lovely cherry effect as well. There we go. So we've got this really nice little plum